We can
Okay,
start, sir.
right. A session is recording now. Once again, a very warm welcome to everyone to the Cliniminds, to this new batch of advanced postgraduate program in clinical research, pharmacovigilance, and data management. Your specialization is depending upon your qualification, whether it's a pharmacovigilance or in data management. The the timing of this program is absolutely right. The launch date, I over the weekend on the Friday and Saturday, I had opportunity to participate in the annual meeting of Indian Society of Clinical Research, which is our industry body, association actually for the clinical trials industry. And pretty much from everyone from the clinical trials industry was there together face to face after about 2 years of gap. And there were discussions, there were meetings, there were uh, multiple conferences within this conference about the several aspects of clinical trials industry. Before this, I would like to request everyone to keep your cameras on and keep your sound on mute. Uh, I think let's take the benefit of when we say the e-learning is a mode which is exactly like a classroom. This is the live sessions. You are going to see each other. You are going to interact with each other uh, on this platform. Uh, so yeah, so this, uh, in fact, this conference on the clinical trials after the physical conference, actually after the gap of almost 3 years now, we had opportunity to interact with the global leaders. They were leaders from US, Europe, India, and several other countries, uh, and discussed several aspects of clinical trials industry, not only in India, but globally, and how it is going to impact India, how India now is at the forefront of clinical trials. And coming years, India will continue to be a very, very important stakeholder in the global clinical trials industry. The drug development process is very complex. It's long, cumbersome, complex, scientific, medical process, which actually is governed by set of regulations, set of guidelines, set of international practices we follow. Because it's all about human beings. It's all about the drugs which we take. So clinical trials ensures, in I'm saying in nutshell, that it ensures that the drug which you are taking is safe. The first and foremost important thing is the safety of the drug, and then the efficacy of the drug. So the drug is safe and is efficacious. That's the bottom line of the conducting the clinical trials on human beings. So that's the uh, and today and next several months, you're going to learn the entire clinical trials process from the experts. So I'm not going to talk too much about the clinical trials today, but we'll talk about generally about other things and see how it impacts your career. The drug industry, it's a, as I said, it's a long, cumbersome, time-taking process, and it takes about $1 billion of rupees, $1 billion of $1 million it takes to develop a new drug, to bring a new drug to the market. So from the lab to chemist shop, that journey takes about 8 to 9 years, 10 years in some cases, and it takes at least $1 billion investment, which in the rupee value, if you see, is close to about 8,200 crore rupees need to be invested into the clinical trials before the drug comes out into the market. So it's a complex process, and it involves the various stakeholders, the pharmaceutical companies, which are known as sponsors, regulatory agencies, clinical research professionals like you, CROs, contract research organizations, patients, the subject population. So there are several stakeholders and there are several regulations we follow as a part of the clinical trials. In India, we follow the New Drugs and Clinical Trial Rules 2019, which is the most recent edition of the clinical trial regulations. So over the next few months, you're going to learn several aspects of these regulations. And every country where you do the clinical trials, they have their own regulations. But also, we are also governed by the clinical trials are also governed by the good clinical practice, ICGCP principles as well. So ICGCP principles ensures that everyone, wherever the clinical trials are conducted, the all stakeholders follow the same principles on safety on human beings, how we conduct the clinical trials, how we collect the data, how we ensure the safety of the patient. So there are standard guidelines, ICGP guidelines, which are the backbone of all the even global regulations. So then there are several other parts of the program. The pharmacovigilance, students who come from the either medical, dental, pharmacy, Ayurvedic, or homeopathic background, for them the specialization is going to be pharmacovigilance. I'm sure you would have chosen it rightly under the guidance of the counseling team. Pharmacovigilance is the science of drug safety. In pharmacovigilance, we ensure that the drug which we are developing is safe for the human beings. We, throughout the clinical trials, from the phase 1 till phase 3. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the clinical trials, we want to ensure that the drug is safe. So always safety over efficacy. So we want to, during the studies, during the clinical trials, if we find the drug is not safe, we then go back and see whether we can do something to make the drug safe, or we terminate the clinical trials. If that trial is causing deaths or other serious adverse events which we cannot address, then we um, terminate the clinical trials, because no point in developing a drug which continues to be not safe for the human consumption. But after the clinical trials also, once a drug comes out into the market, when the drug is approved by the regulatory agencies, we have to ensure now that the drug continues to be safe in the post-marketing scenario. So now the drug comes out in the market and drug is being taken by the millions of patients worldwide. Earlier, during the clinical trials, we had very limited patient population. At best, we had about, let's say, 4 or 5,000 patients in 20, 25 countries. And the limited, you know, we knew who the patients are, what food they eat, what other drugs they take, what is their disease status. We knew everything about the clinical trial patients. But now when your drug has gone to the market, you don't know who is your consuming a drug. So we want to ensure that the drug continues to be safe in millions of patients. Like take the example of vaccine. The billions of people took vaccine worldwide, billion plus 2 billion, 2.5 billion people or maybe more took the vaccine. So we had a very stringent system to collect all the adverse event information or the serious adverse event information on that vaccine, so that we could monitor if there are any serious adverse events taking place. So we'll take the necessary action. If requires, the drug can be taken away from the market permanently or temporarily till you resolve those risks. So it's a very exciting area of pharmacovigilance. You're going to learn a lot about how the post-marketing and during the clinical trials you conduct pharmacovigilance. In post-marketing, what are the various steps, whether it's the case processing, receiving case processing, MEDRA coding, narrative writings, quality control, medical review of the case, aggregate reports, essential documents, signal detection, risk management. So you're going to learn the all aspects of pharmacovigilance in this program. Then the data management, very important part of the program, very important part of the clinical trials. In clinical trials, you're collecting a lot of data. You are collecting the uh, information during the clinical trials, the patients who are participating in the clinical trials. You collect all the data of these patients. Now, this data cannot be submitted to the regulatory agencies in any unstructured way or in Excel or anything. You have to collect this data scientifically. You have to, put it into the data management systems. You have to integrate it, and then you have to uh, create a format of that data whereby it could be analyzed by these statistical teams. So it's a very critical area of the clinical trials, clinical data management, uh, because one wrong entry or few wrong entries can change the entire clinical trial pathway. So it's a very critical, sensitive subject. So you're going to learn a lot from the experts how the data management is conducted. There are softwares which are utilized in the data management, and how you prepare the data into the shape whereby it can be utilized by the statistical team to prepare the final report. So the program is comprehensive. It's a 3 months full-time program, Monday to Friday classes, every day 4 to 5 hours of sessions, sometimes more. It's exactly like a classroom. You can interact with the trainers, see, talk to your other colleagues from time to time. You will get access to certain softwares at the right time. When your basic theory is done, uh, you will get access to certain softwares and data management, electronic trial master file, pharmacovigilance software. So all these softwares you're going to get the training on as well. The programs are designed to get you the right employment opportunities, to program to make you employable in the life sciences sector. That's the whole idea. So very few sort of a points would be repeated from what you've learned in the past. There will be some pharmacology recap sessions so that people who are not from the pharmacology background, they get some flavor of the pharma terminologies. The program will focus once you acquire skills, you're trained on softwares, we start the process of pre-placement training. One of the most important points we have is in the pre-placement, you will be given the uh, trainings on how to prepare for interviews, mock interviews, what to speak in interviews, what not to speak in the interviews, what happens in the HR interview, what happens in the technical rounds. So on all these subjects, you will be trained by the experts in the recruitment and the placement team, and the other technical experts will prepare you for the interviews. Please do not miss any session, whether it's the technical subjects or any pre-placement interview sessions. Do not miss sessions, because this program is 3 months, very short duration. This will change the course of your career. If you do not take the program seriously, you will then find hard to progress in career. So take these 3 months very seriously. If you can avoid taking any leave or holidays, please ensure that you do not take those breaks in between, because short program, I think it's not very long. So 3 months will fly. uh, about 60 to 65 working days program. So you want to ensure that you do not miss out on anything in this program. Few important things you must do as professionals yourself as well. There are few things which we train you. there are few things you need to ensure that as professionals you are preparing yourself for the corporate career. Please ensure that your keyboard skills uh, are good. There are no pen and paper jobs. And repeating here today again, there are no pen and paper jobs. You are in life sciences sector and all the jobs are on computer. So anyone who does not have computer, please ensure that you have some sort of a computer. Avoid learning on mobile phones because mobile phones are okay for maybe today's session while you're speaking only with the trainers today, but going forward there'll be interactive sessions, there'll be presentations you need to make, there will be softwares on which we need to train you, and all these softwares we will give you the access which you need to run them on your computer also. So please invest in a computer because that will help you a lot in uh, learning, but also prepare you for the job. When you go to the interview, go for the interview in the company, you will see that there's no pen and paper today. So everything, I'm traveling for the last few days, and I think barring signing at few places here and there in hotels, I've not used pen. So everything is on computers today. So we'll take a quick vote here. You can raise hand so you can see a hand, that logo on your screens. So how many of you have computers? So let's take a quick vote. So we have about, is voting stopped now or people are still thinking whether they have computer or not? Okay, so we have, I think majority perhaps, I think barring few. So about 36, 37, 38, I see 38 people have computers, and I'm sure there are about 6, 7 more who don't have. Please invest in computer. Take it or rent. These days, rent is about 400 to 500 rupees a month. So for 3 months, if you rent a computer or rent a laptop, it will cost you 1,500 rupees. That's it. But it will improve your learnings a lot. So you can you stop that hand, you can remove that sort of uncheck that. So learn computers, ensure that you have basic word skills, typing on computers, very important. Day-to-day job, you'll need to type reports, you have to prepare PowerPoint presentations, you need to work on Excel. There will be sessions on Excel, PowerPoint. Uh, so we will give you those sessions, training sessions, but please start using computers for your basic Excel, PowerPoint presentations. These are the skills very, very critical going forward. So you may be surprised. Sometimes a recruiter might want to see what are the soft skills you have. You may be very good in technical skills, but if you don't know the subject, then, or if you don't know the Excel or a Word or preparing a PPT, what's the point? Where will you utilize that knowledge and skill? So very important. Learn about industry journally. Read more news about the industry, the pharma industry, clinical research, pharmacovigilance. It's very easy these days. With the Google, you can set up your own newsletter on these words: clinical research, news, pharmacovigilance, data management, all these pharma news. Keep reading a lot, because sometimes in the interviews, company might ask you a question out of the blue, which may not be from either your BSc, BPharm, MPharms, or BTech, BDS subjects. Maybe a very journal thing about the pharma industry or life sciences sector. So increase your journal knowledge. Interaction in English language, very important. Uh, One of the most important things is to interact in this language, English. Uh, there are hardly any jobs in the local languages in our sector. In the life sciences sector is heavily English driven sector, and there are very few jobs which are in local languages. We politically see, sometimes we see the news sometime here and there on the local languages. It's good to know the local language, good to know your mother tongue. It's very important that we speak our mother tongue at homes and wherever socially. We should not shy away, but English is very important for our business language. So that's the business language. There will be sessions again as a part of the program. We have built in excellent English communication session on speaking journally, uh, email writing, email etiquettes. One of the most important things in your career going to be is how do you write emails? Very important. I sometimes see the students writing entire email in the subject line. Whatever they want to convey, they just convey it in a subject line. Very unprofessional. Always have a very basic email etiquettes in place. Use dear, Mr., Miss, Doctor, address them with a surname, unless those colleagues internally have become so close that you call them with the first name. Outside world, we always address them as dear Miss, Mr., Doctor, whatever their title is. We address them with that. Uh, we write our communication very politely. There's no place in this world for aggression. The people, the rude, aggressive people have very little acceptance in the corporate career. So, humbleness, politeness, how do you write your email, polite emails, is going to make all the difference in the world for you. Very small points, but ensure that these are the things you uh, learn. The time management, extremely important factor. Uh, so make sure that you are wherever you go, be in time. A very small point, two examples we will take on the time management issues. The one is you go for an interview. You have been invited to appear for a physical interview at the client campus. So when you go there, you don't reach 5 minutes or 10 minutes before interview. You still feel that you have been there 10, 15 minutes before, but you will be surprised in some of the very large corporations, ID companies, life sciences companies, process from entering from a security gate to reaching to the HR manager's office might take you 20, 25 minutes. The large campuses, security processes are very, very cumbersome. They will take your photograph, make your entry pass. So you'll realize you have actually missed the interview in spite of being there on time. So, so make sure you take the, calculate the right time always for reaching for the interviews. You might miss a business opportunity in a company. If you're in business role, you might miss opportunity to meet a person and you might miss a business. Clinical research industry is part of the same whole time issues. A 1 day delay in launching a drug. So let's say a drug takes 5 years to develop. We are assuming right now for the discussion take 5 years. And if it goes 1 day extra from the proposed budget, it will cost $1 million loss to the company every day. So time is a very important role. Working in teams is a very important as a part of your career growth. So with this, I'd like to one more point, and on the placements, do not worry about placements. Learn 3 months religiously. This is the only thing you need to do for the next 3 months. Prepare yourself well. Well, there are plenty of job opportunities. There will be enough interviews you will get. You will continue to get the placement support. My colleague, Mr. Raul Mali, is going to meet you today as well, and we'll talk about the placement process. So do not worry about placement. We have an excellent track record. Focus on your studies. And one of the important things, do not miss sessions. Every time you miss a session, you miss something 4 hours of important training that day. and next day you might find it hard to catch up. Though we have the audio video recordings available, you can always go through the audio video recordings of the previous day, but that doesn't mean you miss out the live session, because the live is live actually. You will never get that experience from the recorded session. So do not miss live sessions. Prepare yourself well for the career opportunities now. And with this, wish you all the best once again. And you have a great team at Cliniminds, led by Dr. Vipra, Soja, Mr. Rahul Malia, Joseph sir, Gaurav sir, uh, Said sir, plenty of trainers at the senior level who will train you on the different subjects from time to time. We have English trainers as well, personality development sessions. So excellent team. You're in safe hands, best hands in the industry. These are the this is the team which has trained thousands of students in the last many years. So you're in great hands. Wish you all the very best. And now I'll be happy to take any questions if you have.
Thank you, sir. Students, if you have any question, please feel free to ask your questions.
So actually, I just wanted to know this, Joy.
Hello, Joydeep. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, sir, I am from BTech, I mean biotechnology background. So like I heard that you said that pharmacovigilance is for like the background who are from homeopathy and I mean medical background.
Pharmacy. Pharmacy.
Yeah, yes. So like from being a biotechnology background, can I proceed into pharmacovigilance?
Joydeep, nothing stops you from learning pharmacovigilance.
Yes.
Learning wise is fine. You're okay to take that program. But when it comes to
Yeah.
the jobs are not offered by Clinimin. Jobs are offered by the pharmaceutical industry. And the criteria, the recruitment criteria is in pharmacovigilance job is you must be from the pharmacy, medical, dental, or one of these allied educational backgrounds.
Yes. Yes.
So
Got it.
even if you learn pharmacovigilance along with the clinical research, then you will get the opportunity in clinical research only. My suggestion is to take clinical research and data management
Data
backgrounds. That
management.
will
Right.
be better from the placement perspective.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions, students? Please feel free. There is no question which is right or wrong. A question is always a question. So feel free to ask your questions.
Dr. Vipra, I think they don't have any questions. We can move ahead.
Yes, sir, we can move ahead. I think sir has also disconnected. So,
Yes.
students taking the orientation session forward, I would request as I call out the names of the students to unmute themselves and introduce themselves to us today. In your introduction, please mention your name, your qualification, the year when you completed the qualification, and your current location. In case if you have any working experience, please add that in your introduction as well. So the first student is Prajakta.
Yes. Um, Hello, sir. Good morning. My name is. I have done Master of Pharmacy in Quality Assurance from Dr. LSSSDC College of Pharmacy. I have completed that course in June 2021.
Okay.
Having 2 years of experience at ADA Department, Rubicon Research Private Limited, Thane. I left the organization on 16th of December 2022, and now I'm doing this course because I'm more passionate about the patient safety. Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
And what is your current location?
I stay at Badlapur,
Okay.
Mumbai.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prajakta. Next is Abhay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Abhay Agar. I have done Bachelor of Pharmacy in 2019. I have 2019. I have 3 years of experience in pharma industry, 2 years in retail industry, and 1 year as a medical representative. My current location is Mumbai.
Okay. Thank you, Abhay. Next is Adil.
Morning, everyone. My name is Adil Rashid. I have done BSc in Bacteriology this year in January, and my location is Bombay.
Okay. Thank you, Adil. Next is Ambili Jay.
Hi everyone, good morning. I am Ambri Jaykrishnan. I have done my master's in bioinformatics from University of East London, and also I worked there as a part-time job in pharmacy. Now I'm in Kerala.
Okay. Next is Anita Rathod.